Good Sunday evening, everybody. Welcome to our June 2022 meeting for Guilds of Requiem, Space Station Requiem, and the Steampunk Unit. My name is Robin Kearney Fraser. If you, yeah, we're trying to get used to the new flow because we have been approved by the IRS as a nonprofit private foundation. It does fall under the 501c legalities. We do have to have a monthly meeting to fulfill some of our obligations under that. And so we decided instead of
It seems there's some technical difficulties. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties because our internet seemed to have dropped Robin just out of the meeting. So she's working on reconnecting.
Gotcha. Yeah, and me, I can't get it to log me in on the Chrome for Zoom, so I'm gonna try to find my password. Ugh. Okay. Hi. All right, so. Now I need Google.
how wooed. Oh, Christopher, I don't know if it's gonna, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna let me keep recording and still do the PowerPoint presentation. Mikey, are you on the Chrome that you can try hitting record? If not, we'll just play it by ear and do the best that we can. Unfortunately, I don't, this is an ongoing issue that we have out here, and AT&T insists that we are on the best internet product there is available for us. And we are constantly dealing with dropped internet and everything else. So it's really, really frustrating. So I am just going to start over from the beginning again. I'm not going to try popping this as the PowerPoint playing because I'm afraid it might lose us again. So we're working right now. Can everybody see my screen? Yes,
Give me
okay.
a second.
So I can assume that
Let me-
everybody can hear me yap in my trap.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Participants can now see your screen. Isn't that wonderful to finally let me know, like almost a minute after I hit it. So as I was explaining before, our internet dropped me. And I don't know why it does just me and not Christopher, but I don't know, he might be having problems in his room too.
It does me too.
But it does it to you too? Okay, so yeah, that's something we've got to figure out what's going on with it, or, make one of their technicians come out here one day until they figure out why we keep dropping. That's about the only thing I can think to suggest. Our router's new. They've been out here 2 or 3 times already, but we still end up with interrupted internet service, which really stinks when trying to run a business or organization or anything. This is our monthly meeting. For those who have not already seen it, we have been approved for our nonprofit status with the IRS. We are considered a nonprofit private foundation. So what that essentially means is that our board members are appointed, not elected. We do have to have a monthly meeting for the guilds. And instead of taking up everybody's time to have 3 monthly meetings for everything that has a monthly meeting, we're just doing one. And I can see that already. I'm de-rezzing and, kind of getting that whole max headroom look going on the camera. So hopefully we'll be able to make it through the meeting. I'm going to try to go through as quickly as I can. We are going to start with the Guilds of Requiem monthly meeting, then Space Station Requiem, Steampunk, followed by Nantucket-Con. Guilds of Requiem is got the most information to it before we get to the Nantucket part. And I just got to notice that I'm probably going to get dropped again. So just bear with me if I have to log back in.
And I am working on getting on to the Chrome so I can at least pull up the,
Okay, yeah, because that's what we might have to do, is we might have to share your screen for the PowerPoint versus us trying to, because you should have a better internet connection where you're at in the city. We're going to start out with me yapping my trap a little bit about the changes that we've gone through, some executive decisions that we've had to make due to our change in the nonprofit status. And then we're going to have reporting by the guilds with the project leader sound off. And you will see that there are a lot of changes forthcoming on that. Our current board of directors is myself as the president. I'm Robin Kearney Frazier. Our secretary is Mikey Lee Gravely, who is this lovely little icon over here. The treasurer is Christopher Van Cleve, which is the young man that is joining us. Matthew Frazier is hiding somewhere behind me or in another room. Yeah, I think there's a hand. He's the headless hands. And then we also have Alexander Kearney. He is down in Corpus Christi. And it would be cool to see if he actually joins us, but we're not going to push it. Monthly reporting. Yep. Yeah, so I was kind of hoping to be able to put this out and to not overload people with information. I started the concept of Guilds of Requiem back in 2016 when I had an auto accident. And at the time we were calling it Project Requiem, because what we were quickly learning is that the corporate world, while they may say we are accommodating to disabilities, in reality, they're not. They are still businesses that have to run and have to function. And the only way that they can do that is if every paid employee is present. COVID has taught them a lot of things about the fact that yes, employees can work remotely and not impact your business. So that was kind of one of the good things that come from that. But in 2017, as I'm sure a lot of you saw, we just celebrated 5 years. That was when Matt and I went down to the courthouse in Bandera and we registered Guilds of Requiem as a sole proprietorship. In 2020, we kind of all got together and made the decision that since COVID is proving to be a transitional year for everybody, that we were going to make that as our leaping point for transitioning into a nonprofit corporation. We filed with the state of Texas and they accepted it on August 21st of 2020. And then earlier this year, life kind of sort of started saying, you know, hey, we got to get this going with the IRS. Let's give it a try. I had a very long conversation with the state comptroller's office, very long conversation with the IRS before we submitted all the paperwork that we needed to be considered a 501 nonprofit under the IRS. And surprise, surprise, they came back and said, yes, you are a nonprofit, you are a private foundation, which is a 509A. And that's a conversation that long conversation Mikey and I had the other night about the differences in the nonprofits that are out there. But they surprised us one step further by backdating our nonprofit status to August 21st of 2020. So as a result of that, this last month, I have been having to do, actually the last 2 months, I have been having to do a lot of catch up because as a corporation, we're supposed to have annual meeting with minutes. We're supposed to have monthly meetings with our departments or within our departments, and kind of keep everything else, you know, happening. Ha ha ha, we see a doggo. So we've been doing a lot of catch up, and people are starting to see a lot of the changes as they're now trickling through to the, yep, Mike, it says you're here, trickling
me
through to the
On the
public eye.
Chrome,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so that kind of gives you an idea of where we have came from, where we are headed. Our goal, or my goal specifically, that I'm getting everybody else on board with, is that by 2025, I would like to see all 7 guilds have their own guild masters and be managing their own projects and departments. I do feel that it is very possible and plausible considering where we were at just this time last year. Heck, even just this time at the beginning of the year. I do feel that that is very plausible to have happen. Kind of a personal reason why this is happening. A lot of people know that I am disabled. I do deal with frequent health challenges. I believe I've been in the emergency room now once or twice a week, every week this month. And it was basically laid out to me by a couple of my doctors that I'm on a time schedule. They can slow down the timer on this, but there will come a point in which I have a seizure that I will not recover from, and I will be permanently paralyzed. So that is something that we have been having to deal with on our end and in our household. It is part of the reason why Christopher has moved back home, is because I do need somebody to help remind me, hey mom, did you take your medicine? Hey mom, did you eat? Hey mom, when's the last time you took a bath? If you have to think about it, it's been too long. So I am very grateful to have him here and help with all this. I'm very grateful to him and Mikey in making sure that all of this transition happens smoothly. We do have a very large learning curve, and the biggest one is me learning to let go and not micromanage. As I was explaining to Christopher earlier this evening and to Mikey last weekend, I've been doing this for 6 years now. Pretty much running it as a sole proprietorship with the help of a few other people. But until this last year, we did not have formal structure where there were other people besides myself and Matt dedicated and committed to making Guilds of Requiem happen. So that leads into our future goals and where that date comes from, and a lot of the dates that you're going to see going forward in the meeting as to why they are where they are. We do have some reminders with our change that monthly reporting will begin with the month of July, which that means that anybody who is a project leader, their report is going to be due the 5th of every month. Guild masters are going to be due the 10th of every month. When the board of directors is meeting, our due date is the 15th. Whoever is compiling the PowerPoint needs to have it done no later than the 19th of the month for myself and the secretary to review. The day of the meeting, anybody can present for their area of involvement. For this month, as we have a lot of information to go over that are changes, we're going to kind of hold off on that for that change to actually start until our fiscal year, which begins on September 1st. So we're allowing ourselves July and August for transitions to continue to occur. There it is. This is the one that has a whole lot of information to it. What has changed now that we are recognized as a nonprofit foundation? Vending fees can now be classified as donations. So that is a selling point that we have to our events. Not only are they getting the opportunity to vend at an event that is coordinated by somebody with 20, 30 years of event coordinating experience now, and I've got other people learning how to do it. The vending fee is now classified as a donation because we are a nonprofit. However, membership fees to specific projects are not donations. Those are basically a part of doing business, and that we have to be able to record that I've got 5 members in the Vendors Guild. They're paying X dollars amount every year as a membership fee. That is income that we need to be able to record for our budget practices, for what we've spent what we've had incoming this year and for the years going forward. We have already seen an uptick in potential business sponsors. Several of them have first replied. Some have just asked for information on how can they best help, whether it's financial donation or whether it's donation of actual items that we need for our events or for our business. We are implementing that members can get paid for their time donating on working on Guilds of Requiem related projects. It is approved amount of hours and within reason. We kind of did have a little bit of discussion in regards to finance and how it would impact us as a nonprofit on how much can we actually pay out as donations. As such, we also are going to kind of do a skills level assessment with somebody. If they are doing apprentice level work, basically it's mind numbing work. It doesn't involve a whole lot of skill or knowledge. Your pay code, drop, click, whatever. It's $10 an hour, maximum of 10 hours a week. A journeyman level is somebody, okay, I have an idea what I'm doing already. I've got a little bit of experience in it. I just need a little bit of guidance. Is going to be at $20 an hour, max of 10 hours a week. A master level work is $30 an hour. This is a person that where they sit there and they go, this is my job. This is what I've been doing most of my life. I know what I'm doing. You just need to tell me exactly what you need me to do. I'll make it happen. They need very little direction to complete a project. And that is going to be a maximum of 10 hours per week. Anybody is welcome to donate more hours or time per week. However, we will not be giving you a receipt for that amount. Like I said, we will be doing a skills level assessment. So if somebody comes up to me and says, I want to volunteer in the Agrarian Guild, I'm going to say, great. What's your experience level? What are you helping with? Are you just providing labor, or are you actually providing a function? A tax donation receipt is going to be issued on the 10th of the month for hours the month before. It does need to be reported to us by the 5th of the month, which goes in with our project leader reporting time. We will have a document or form or portal where people can submit their hours. Tasks that we currently need help on: website changes and updates. For those who have looked at our website, guildsofrequiem.com, who have not, we actually have 3 domain names that we maintain. Guildsofrequiem.com is our parent organization. 2 of our largest projects is Space Station Requiem. That is a science fiction fan club in the hill country of Texas. And our other one is the steampunkunit.org. That is our youth organization that takes science, technology, engineering, arts, math, and combines it with the love of science fiction and fandom. It's a fun way that we've been doing this for, I think, 5 years now, where we've actually been doing it, but this is like the 2nd year that we've actually had this concept down, where we say, you know what, hey, these are these deals. That's STEM. Well, if we put in arts, that's STEAM. Steampunk, hey, steampunk is a fandom. There we go. We have a built-in means of getting these activities across that are fun and engaging for youth members. We do need help with some minor graphic design. As many people would see, I've got some of the guilds updated to the new logo. Some of them still need updates and along with their headers. And we do need help with social media marketing assistance. Information about volunteering for anyone who has not worked with me or for me in the past. I do assign a specific task to a person looking to help volunteer based on a mutually agreed upon skill. I will give you an anticipated date in which to have that task done. I will be available to answer any questions or give additional instructions on how to complete the task. I will be publishing times in the appropriate guild, private guild group of when I am available to work on those tasks and to assist you. I think we're at what, 2 or 3 appointments now a week that have me out of the house, have us out of the house about 4 to 6 hours, Christopher. Plus we got weekend stuff and everything and family time. So yes, I'm disabled. Don't have a real job, but that's because I have a lot of other things going on. I do expect two-way communication on a project status and or, you know, hey, I had this come up, so that's why I'm delayed. I have that come up, that's why this is delayed. I will not beg someone to complete a task that they agreed to do. And the board of directors will keep track of anybody of who are the movers, the shakers, and dedicated people are, so that when we are able to actually offer paid positions, get to the first people are that we are going to offer that position to. Those who have volunteered and showed us that they are committed to the success of Guilds of Requiem. For those who are not familiar, we have 7 guilds, which are our departments. We have our Agrarian Guild, which is anything that you grow or raise. Our Crafters Guild, which is anything that you make with your own 2 hands. Our Guardians Guild, those are our peacekeepers, our medical people, those who make sure that we're safe. Our Merchants Guild has everything to do with finances and marketing. Our Resources Guild is like our business administration and human resources all wrapped up into one department. Our Scholars Guild is anything that has to do with teaching or learning, any courses that we offer or that we approve. Our Technicians Guild, they're kind of the ones who are, they're sort of busy right now, but not really. But eventually, you know, their kind of motto is, if you dream it, we build it, you break it, we fix it. And this not only stands for buildings and maintenance, but we are also hoping to add in computer repair into that so that we have a IT guild as well. So our Agrarian Guild. Right now, we made an executive decision at the beginning of the year that any guild that does not have a master, the president is responsible for. Why is that? Because if something happens, the president is the one who's looking at 3 hots and a cot unless I can prove otherwise. So it only made sense for me to, you know, and of course, and me understanding how everything works together in its giant little web in our tree of life that we have, that I be in control of that guild until we find the right person to fill that guild. So we are saying that, and this is a lot of this is history and experience that is teaching us this. The person must be a member of Guilds of Requiem in any capacity or position for a minimum of 2 years. We need the people to understand how Guilds of Requiem works before they try to run a department. We are different, we are unique, we are not like any other corporation, profit or nonprofit in the United States. IRS and state of Texas has both confirmed that we are kind of out there in our own little bubble of how we do business. I am asking that a prospective candidate hold either a bachelor's degree in a related field with 2 years experience, or they are certified as a master gardener by the Texas Ag Extension Program with 6 years verifiable hands-on experience. That can be in any field, animal husbandry, gardening, agriculture field, the entire thing that encompasses. I would be thrilled if they have experience with aquaponics design and maintenance, but it's not required because I can teach it. Once we have found the candidate that is in there, they are going to have a 1-year probationary period underneath me, in which I can help guide them along and mentor them to the expectations that we have as a organization as a whole before they're say, you know what, I got this, you know, kick off my training wheels and let me go. There is a potential for self-funding that exists within the Agrarian Guild. And I'm going to get to that to the next page on why that is. My goal is by 2025 fiscal year that we have this position filled. The executive board did approve the formation of Requiem's Gardens, CSA, which is a community shared agriculture program. It will go live at BentuckyCon 2022 to allow time for back office work to be completed. We are aiming for 2024 to be able to do aquaponics design and installation and maintenance services in that year. Our other projects that we have, currently we have several physical projects here in Pipe Creek that anybody who lives in San Antonio or an apartment or just doesn't have room in the dreaded HOA where they say, no, you can't garden, you can't keep animals or whatever. That's kind of what we're here for. Once we own property in the names of Guilds of Requiem, that's what that property is for, is to allow anybody to join our community shared agriculture. And we basically are cooperative in our gardening and growing processes. Our duck pond has been completed. It does have water in it. It does have fish in it. I had to explain to somebody what happened to one of the ducklings that went swimming in the pond for the first time, and oh my God, a fish touched its foot. It was quite hilarious. The other thing that we deal with is this knucklehead that's trying to get from behind my screen. Oh, look, here he comes to photobomb the meeting. Somebody thinks that the pond was installed for him to go swimming in. Hi, you gonna say hi? Come on, up. Gonna say hi? Hi. Say my favorite thing to do is to lay down in the pond, roll around, and then roll around in the muddy duck poop mud outside of the pond. He has had daily baths now since we got water in the pond. And he still stinks like wet dog. We do need to complete the bog filter and a waterfall filtration system, and that is mostly because the duck pond has a very large bio load to it, along with the fish that are in it. We did have a 50-50 on our hatchling rate for our ducks, which means that we hatched 10 ducks and we got 5 drakes out of it. We are getting ready to put 10 more ducks in the incubator. 5 of them are spoken for by Guilds of Requiem members. So hopefully we're going to end up with that same ratio again, where the drakes are getting processed for freezer camp. We got a door onto the aquaponics section yesterday, and we do have the coverings and everything's in the framework up to enclose it so that we don't have to worry so much about bugs making a meal out of our meal. So that is what we have happening here at Requiem Ranch. Our virtual products is the Homesteaders and Preppers Guild. And one of their biggest tasks right now is to maintain and encourage discussions in the Home, Hearth, and Heart Facebook group. That is basically anything that has to do with your home, with growing and the passions of your heart and maintaining, everything else. They also assist in coordinating activities related to the Agrarian Guild at Guilds of Requiem events. And they act as the primary activity coordinator and contact person for the spring and fall bazaar, which I believe the request was made for a spring bazaar next year, Mikey, or was it spring and fall? Spring or spring and fall? Both? Just tell me. 1 is spring, 2 is both. Okay, both of them. Got it. So that happens the weekend after spring break up here and the 3rd weekend in September. The one that I kind of need a lot of help on, because we all know what crafters and artists do. We're still going to have the needing to be a member of Guilds of Requiem for 2 years. But a prospective candidate should have what type of skills? What type of certifications are we looking for? What type of experience are we wanting somebody who runs this guild to have? I am going to ask for retail management experience, because a lot of what the Crafter and Artist Guild Master is going to do is ensure that the products that our crafters are making, that the products that are branded by Guilds of Requiem that we have in manufacturing and production, they're going to be sold. Eventually, we will have a permanent retail location in which we can sell our own products and the products of anybody who's in the Vendors Guild. Hello. Matt, can I have my water and my Gatorade? I'm about ready to lose out my voice here. It will still have the 1-year probationary period under me, because we want to make sure that we've got the right person fit for that position, and we want to make sure that they're also satisfied with where they feel that they can make this guild go. So my question is other than the retail, once we have it, and I want people to kind of think about this, and those who are in the Private Crafters Guild group can sound off on this, or in the Guild Masters group. Do you see a potential niche market in which this guild can become self-sustaining and provide a base salary for the Crafters Guild Master? So like I said, that person would probably end up being our retail manager. So, we gotta make sure that we're doing that. Other discussions that we have, where can we grow and go with this discussion, with this guild? How can they be self-sustaining? What, we do is everybody aware of the brands that we currently have with the Guilds of Requiem? I know a lot of people have heard that I'm stepping back from Sixth Sense Apothecary and Sir Barkslot. The only thing that Sir Barkslot will be available to is wholesale to pet clinics that we are already currently working with and are under contract with. Otherwise, I am currently not in the position to be manufacturing soaps or personal care or pet care products. We have Requiem's Kitchen and the Barkery, which are of our jams, jellies, dog, we make our own organic dog training treats, everything else that goes with that. Along with, in the Crafters Guild, the person can help offer educational courses that there's always the fee that we can charge for that course because we are teaching people. There are deliverables, there are activities and things that they get to go home with, and we're asking for that person to share their time. So those are some things for us to think about. What projects do we currently have? I think everybody's kind of had a little change in trying to cope with their own life and what's going on, that I am going to take this opportunity to open these 3 projects and probably some of the other projects back up to anybody who wants to do a project lead on that. Because there are going to be deliverables, there's going to be monthly reporting that's going to have to happen. So there is going to be a little bit more of a time commitment. And I want to make sure my project leaders are aware that there is a time commitment to this. It's not just, hey, I'm going to do this. We now have to ask for actual deliverables from these projects. So the 3 that we currently have for the Crafters and Artists Guilds is the Bards Guild of Requiem. It does have a Facebook page. It will have its own sub website, which includes group and forum discussions. Who's in the Bards Guild? It would be exactly like you think. If you play D&D, you know exactly what a bard is. They dress up, they give performances, they're dancers, they're artists, they're musicians, they're storytellers. That's everybody that you would think of that would be a bard is in the Bards Guild. What are we offering them? We're offering them marketing and networking. We're also going to help them go from their passion to income producing, or, with a lot of cosplayers, they also do a lot of cause, C-A-U-S-E, playing, in which they donate their time to children's organizations in making dreams happen. The second one we have is the Gamers Guild of Requiem. It has a Facebook page. It will have its own sub website that has group forums and discussions on it. It is open to all gamers, whether you play first-person shooters, multi-level player online, tabletops, board games, whatever. If it's a game, that's what the Gamers Guild is for, is people who play games. And we want it to kind of help highlight some of the local businesses that have public gaming opportunities. Until recently, I was not aware that the Bandera Public Library has D&D happening once a week. It also has a Pokemon tournament that happens once a month, or I think it's twice a month now. Which is really good, because as a GED instructor, I was at the library twice a week, and I didn't know that this was happening. So that's kind of the things that person needs to be helping for. They can also help network to related businesses so that they can advertise on our page and our website to get the word out there more about their gaming opportunities. Our Master Procrastinators of Requiem is our oldest project. It's as old as Project Requiem. It does have a Facebook group. They will have their own sub website with group and forum. It is open to all crafters and artisans. It's perfect place for sharing your creations, asking for suggestions. Maybe find out a little bit more about the history of your craft that you've been doing. There's the possibilities are endless in there. It is open to related businesses to advertise in. So something that maybe the Master Crafter might do is they'll go through and they'll scan all the weekly sales that are happening on different websites, and maybe they take the opportunity of Merchants Monday to say, hey, are you aware that these sales are coming up at these locations? Now might be a great time to go restock up. Hey, did you know Hobby Lobby's got this seasonal stuff all on clearance for 70% off? Here's the coupon code to buy out online. That's kind of what we're looking for the Master Procrastinators Guild, Procrastinators of Requiem. to kind of help facilitate and create a community of. Our next one is our Guardians Guild. This is one that I spent 20 years working in as a law enforcement at the Nueces County Sheriff's Office. I actually started in St. Louis, Missouri in 1994, November of 1994, December of 1994. Then I went to the Corpus Christi Police Department, and then I ended up at the Nueces County Sheriff's Office, where when I medically retired in 2013, I was a part of the U.S. Marshals Task Force on Violent Crimes. So this is one that I know a lot about. I was raised in a blue family. My family has had a security business since 1950, where they also did risk management assessments. So this person has got some big shoes to fill, because not only do they got to meet my standards, they got to meet the standards that my daddy taught me and my granddaddy taught me. So, but this one is open to anybody with a background in any of the following fields. That's going to be your first responder, include law enforcement, fire, EMS, and dispatchers, security and risk management businesses, any medical field, which includes any position that requires them to have a first aid or CPR certification or medical license to practice. So somebody who is probably a medical transcriptionist, it's probably not going to be the right candidate. I'm not going to say absolutely not, because I never know until we have the candidate in front of us. It is also open to anybody who has military service, whether they are active, reservist, or veteran. The only one that it will exclude is a dishonorable discharge, because we do run background checks on all of our guild masters. And if you did something to get kicked out of the military dishonorably, pretty good chance that you're not going to pass a background check. And the reason this is because our Guardians Guild are charged with being the guardians of Requiem, and that includes our youth program. We have to be exacting on this to reduce any liability. If the person has experience with training dogs, and specifically service dogs, and they are aware of the applicable ADA laws, that would be absolutely fantastic. The next page, you'll see why. For those who are new to this, it's preferred, but I can train you. And once again, it'll be a 1-year probationary period. There is a potential for income through our Service and Working Dog Handlers Guild, and being as a certified first aid CPR instructor. Our goal, once again, is 2025 for having this position filled. What projects do we have with the Guardians Guild? At our events, we have a first aid station and a mother's den. Earlier this year, we talked about getting a group together to go get our first aid CPR certifications, and that kind of sort of got pushed to a back burner, pushed to a back burner, pushed to a back burner. So I could really use somebody who wants to take point on this, who wants to try to work with a company or an organization that is willing to come out to our event at BantuckyCon to administer the hands-on portion of first aid CPR training. Back in 2016, the Red Cross started what was called a blended certification program. Basically, that meant you did all of your book learning online, you took your test online, you printed out your test certificate, take it to the instructor, they verify it, they have you do the hands-on portion, and then they certify you. It does reduce the cost to it. It also reduces the amount of time that you have to be at a different location based on someone else's schedule. We do have our Service Dog Handlers Guild, which is recently being rebranded as a Service Working Dog Handlers Guild. The reason this is because it now includes a couple of canine units, service dogs. I think we're 4 service dogs now, and a certified therapy dog at Methodist hospital systems. I'm trying to seek an experienced trainer to help facilitate these meetings. I do have a couple people who've been kind of hinting around on it, but they do not retire until 2025 and 2026. So that's kind of there. They were asked if we could have a public networking group. That's something that a lot of our other guilds have, is that we do have a public networking group that people can join or be a part of. And they kind of wanted something to kind of help get the word out there of who we are and what we do at Guilds of Requiem along with the Guardians Guild. And so it was proposed that we have a guild or a Requiem project for them. And winning name was actually Haven of Requiem. The alternate was Requiem Guardians, but when I did the background search on the name, it is registered to a defunct business in El Paso, Texas. There was actually a Haven of Requiem in El Paso, Texas that was a pagan group. So we cannot use Haven of Requiem, but we can add Guardians to it. And that kind of makes a little bit more sense. They will launch formally at BantuckyCon. It will be an annual membership fee to be self-sustaining. Yes, I'm trying to get through this as fast as I can so we can get to BantuckyCon. Merchants Guild of Requiem, Christopher Van Cleve. On my screen, he's all the way at the bottom. He's got his hand up. I don't know if everybody else can see it. He is our guild master in training. He can be reached at merchantsguildofrequiem.com. By the way, all of our guilds do have their own email address. It is that guild, the name guildsofrequiem@gmail.com. We're trying to work on getting vanity addresses. So it's, you know, the merchants guildsofrequiem.com, but we hit a couple of snags. I'm really excited to be working with my son. He brings to us youth, enthusiasm, and a fresh perspective to the position. Whereas Mikey and I, we've got a lot of experience. That means we might forget something. We might be kind of set in how we've been told things have to be done. And he can say, hey, well, what about this? What about that? And, you know, give us different ideas. One of the things that we need to point out is that because we incorporated in August, our fiscal year runs from September 1st to the end of August. Why is 2025 being such a big year in which I want to have this happen? Currently, when my father passed away, he left a trust fund, and that is set to expire at the end of August 2025. And that represents the $500 a month of operational expenses that we have been working on since 2016. That is, you know, I made the request to the trust fund to say, okay, take away from what you normally disperse me so that we can disperse it to this. It was actually a tax decision because I kept getting hit with income taxes, because what do banks like to do with trust funds? They like to invest money. My trust fund was making a lot of money on their investments, and some of them were foreign investments, which meant that, yeah, I was paying taxes. Something that was meant to help was actually harm. Once we started doing this, I saw that I was no longer having to pay taxes. So that was kind of where that came from. That's the expected ending of it. So our goal is, right now we have a search for grant money to pay a salary. This is going to be one of our first paid full-time positions. Our goal is by the end of 2023 to have grant money that is paying for the Merchants Guild Master. I'm going to save some time by not reading off what the requirements are. We will be posting this onto our probably our website so that people who want to view it later can, or they can pause it when I post the video or whatever. Current projects, we have Requiem Events Management. That is a new formation this year. Mikey, as the Vice President of Gilded Projects, is stepped into this role, and she's begun apprenticing work with me. With Ren Fair, she's kind of taking a little bit more of a lead on BantuckyCon. She's trying not to panic her on it, but you know, she understands exactly what's happening here. Outside of any of our projects that we have, there is definitely income potential for having an event management program. Since I put the Requiem's Events Management up, the website up and attached it to ours, I have had 5 phone calls of people asking information about event coordination, event management. Are we available for hire? Yeah, one of them flat out told me that their budget is $500,000. When I did event management, 5% of the budget was my pay. So whoever's got a calculator, you're welcome to figure out how much 5% of $500,000 is. The second change is to the Vendors Guild. It is still going to be kept under our Merchants Guild. This is anybody who vends under the Guild of Requiem banner at either physical events or online. We do have to have a contract now because finances are changing hands. You are entering into an agreement or contract with Guilds of Requiem and with the other vendors in that network. Mikey, do you think it's reasonable on Tuesday that you email that contract out to all of our vendors? Okay. Current members have until August 1st to review and accept the updated terms and conditions, and this is to ensure that the functionality of Guilds of Requiem continues. We just renewed the website, $585. That exceeds our monthly income. Everybody has been after me to run it like a business, run it like a business. We now have to run it like a business. That means there are contracts. There's no more spit in a handshake. That was one of our trade-offs that we made going from a sole proprietorship to a corporation to a nonprofit. We now have to have contracts. And this is one of those places that, because it is putting a financial burden upon the guilds for the web spice that has to be paid. It is something that we're going to translate part of that to the vendors. When you see that contract, you will see our different levels. And once again, we reward being participatory in the success of your own businessship, that it reduces the amount of what your membership fees are versus me having to pay somebody to do all the website maintenance. The annual memberships dues will be due no later than September 1st for the 2022-23 fiscal year. Say that 3 times fast. New members to that guild will be prorated by the quarter. And there is a financial decision behind that. If anybody wants more details, I'll gladly talk with them. Resources Guild, Miss Mikey there, right down there, according to mine. She is our resources. She's not only the secretary to the Guilds of Requiem, she's also our Resources Guild master. Her two email addresses are right there. She is currently taking nonprofit courses and making necessary legal changes to our day-to-day operations. She's a part of the search for the grant money to make sure that she can get paid and do this full time by the end of next year. That is our goal. Future requirements, just in case for some reason we need to replace her, which I hope we never have to, is right there. Resources Guild really only has a couple of projects. One of them is Space Station Requiem, which we will discuss later on. And event management also falls under resources because they are a check and balances with each other between management, finances, and marketing. She is also kind of keeping an eye on all of the changes to our websites to make sure that we are in compliance with nonprofit guidelines. She has started reaching out to local businesses and agencies, get on their books for next year's planning, grants, and everything else, business sponsorships and everything else. Scholars Guild of Requiem, this is my passion. My goal is by 2025 to be the guild master of that. If for some reason I can no longer fulfill these duties, right there are requirements. And yes, I'm talking really, really fast, and it's not because I'm having an ADD, ADHD, and I haven't had my coffee, I see that it's 7:50, and I try not to keep anybody longer than 1 hour. So if I miss anything or I glaze over anything, we will have a Q&A portion at the end of it that you can then ask me questions. We currently have 3 projects with the Scholars Guild of Requiem. Earlier this year, we merged, took over, I think merged or taken over, however you want to put it, Haven of the Dragon. It is a world religious education organization that also offers life services. That was a nice consistent income for me as an ordained minister. I mean, one to 2 ceremonies a weekend at $100 to $200 per ceremony. It's a nice little bit of pocket change. Plus, they were the non-traditional, non-denominational weddings. Favorite one that I love to tell about was a redneck wedding in a barn, complete with animals. His name was Bobby Joe, and she was Betty Sue. We all had red Solo cups, and I did it with the biggest sexist drawl I could come up with. There is a revamp of the website on our schedule. However, everything in Scholars Guild is not a priority at this time. The Learning Pavilion of Requiem, that is basically our adult education services. They will be offering guild and project specific courses. The courses will be virtual and physical. It will be the primary point of contact for any course content submissions. And I'll get to the next one so you understand why. The Steampunk unit, because it is based on the STEM learning concept, it does fall under the Scholarships Guild. Bantuckycon is its primary source of income for donations. 2022 is coming up. We are aiming at networking with school districts. We are already part of the a part of the ISS Space Explorers program. We last year, August 2020, when we did UFO Minicon, as the space station went overhead, we did get a shout out from one of my friends that was up there on the ham radio band. That was pretty awesome to see in a bunch of groups of, hey, what's Space Station Requiem? What's UFO Minicon, man? Yeah, and I'm like, hey, I fangirled out that my friend, said hi as he flew by at, was it 1,200 miles an hour? Some crazy outline, and he told us, so we're really excited about that and hope to see him and a couple of his co-workers, co-astronauts become greatly involved with our part of it. Information to know: no course will be offered by a Guilds of Requiem that has not been approved by the Scholars Guild. Why? It's a liability issue that happened in the past that I am still contending with 3 years later. Somebody who was a member of Guilds of Requiem presented themselves as being a master of their discipline, and it turned out no, they were not, and they were offering internships in which the people paid that person to do work for them. And then the person did not feel comfortable or safe. This was before we were doing background checks. So yeah, she's still been trying to get us to refund money to her. It's not our project. We didn't sanction it. We had nothing to do with the promoting it or anything of it. So that comes to this last one. Is any member found to be offering courses that appear to be attached or sponsored by Guilds of Requiem in any way, shape, or form will no longer be a member, period. I've spent a lot of time and resources in combating this issue for 3 years now, pretty much all of 2020. Technicians Guild, Matthew Frazier is the Technicians Guild Master. He can be reached at that email address. He doesn't regularly check it. Any of these email addresses that you're seeing attached to these guilds, I have a tablet. I get notified of those messages. If I see that, I let the person know, hey, you've got a message on your guild's address. If I see that after 3 business days, they have not gone in and answered it or addressed it, I remind them again. On the 5th business day, I go and take care of it. And then they get to deal with the death glare from Dr. Evil Kitty. I listed the future Technician Guild's master's requirements down there. Heavens forbid we should ever be without him. So this is a point of confusion that we've been getting a lot on. The difference between a gilded project and a new personal business adventure. A gilded project is anything that the Guilds of Requiem is promoting. It is one of our projects. If somebody wants to start their own little business, we are asking that they do not have the name Guild or Requiem in their business name. Yeah, it creates confusions to the consumer as to the difference between a vendor who is contracted with us and an actual Guilds of Requiem product or project. So that is one of the things that we are now going to be very, very firm on, because it does create a lot of time and resources to have to explain the differences to the consumer, especially when they have a complaint. And I've already the people involved with this have already been addressed with this. If you have an idea for the name of a project, we are going to ask that the person include Guild or Requiem in that project title. They need to present the scope of the project, who, what, where, when, and why, anticipated budget and marketing needs, resources needs, and everything that they feel may be needed for that project. And they're going to present it to the guild that it would fall under. So we were talking about Requiem's Gardens. That falls under the Agrarian Guild. So that proposal was made to the Agrarian Guild Master. They finalized it, made sure any questions were answered, then went to the Board of Directors with it. And the Board of Directors says, yes, that sounds like something that is going to be beneficial to our members and to the Guilds of Requiem as a whole. The urgency of this project being approved or declined will be determined as to how quickly we put it in front of our Executive Board of Directors. If it's something that can wait, it is going to wait until our annual board meeting. If it is something that needs to happen sooner, we're going to get it in front of them sooner. We have our own group in which we stay in contact with each other. Finally, down to Guilds of Requiem. Space Station Requiem. Quick overview of upcoming changes. I'm just gonna let everybody look at them. We'll post it up there later onto all of our websites, departmental reports. That one is gonna be super, super easy. Let me tell you why. First change, we are migrated, we have formally migrated away from a single recognizable fandom as we immerse our members in our own multiverse. If you go to spacestationrequiem.org and you go to the blog, you will see the storyline that I have not been working on for the last 2 years because I've been working on everything else. If you go to guildsofrequiem.com and you look at the blog, you will see the individual portions of each of those storylines that I posted as I was dealing with insomnia or away from everything else, that the only thing I could work on was my storyline. Membership applications are available off of our website. Current members will be grandfathered in with no required annual membership fees. Our fiscal year is going to run concurrent with Guilds of Requiem, which is September to August. The membership fees begin at $5 a year, will not be prorated. We do have a uniform type in progress. I've actually printed it, the PDF out again. I do have all of the materials, thread, and notions for my uniform jacket purchased, received, brought together, and I just need to trace the PDF onto onto craft paper so that it's my size and not the generic size. Our anticipated retail value is $150 for active Space Station Requiem or Guilds of Requiem members. It will be $75. We are looking at creating our own badge. A lot of people call it the Com Badge. Right now, it's the Delta Shield with the Tree of Life on it. Because we're getting away from a single recognizable fandom, we are changing that to something that is uniquely us. And I know Tanya has put in some thought to it and submitted some stuff. I need to get together with Janet, or if somebody would like to take point on this, you're my hero. You're my hero. Any final designs will be put in front of the public membership. If there's any ties between the designs, then that will be made in our members only group. Print on demand merchandise, Printify is going to be going away. That I will not pay $60 for a t-shirt. I will not ask anybody else to pay $60 for a t-shirt for a club that no one hardly knows exists, except for unless they listen to the Space Station ham radio frequency. That's just all to it. It's all about money and economy. They keep raising their prices, keep raising their prices, keep raising their prices. They're pricing themselves right out of competition. Cafe Press was recommended, so is Shopify and 2 or 3 others. They keep telling us that our original designs are infringing on copyrights. They are our original designs. We created those designs. They may contain elements of other copyrighted things, but it falls under the copyright laws that we can, fair use laws, that we can use portions of somebody else's design incorporated into ours. Our goal is to migrate to in-house production. A lot of that's going to happen once we have a permanent building in which we can house all of Guilds of Requiem and everything in. So it's also somewhere where the Crafters and Merchants Guild can expand, in that we are now offering our own printing service, embroidery service, whatever service, costuming service, cosplay, sewing services, whatever. Graphic assistance is always needed when it comes to designing things. I expect a poll to come out confirming which type of branded merchandise we want to offer to the general public and which merchandise is available to members only. Expect a poll by the end of August discussing which fandoms have their own membership fees. So Starfleet International, Starfleet Command, the Doctor Who fandom, and I think the Serenity Browncoats also all have their own annual fees or membership fees to become a part of their little club. We need to discuss which one of those outside of Starfleet Command that we are going to accept in lieu of Space Station Requiem membership fees. Starfleet Command will be grandfathered in under this. However, the person or family will have to be assigned to the Space Station Requiem unit. That's one of the things that I'm going to stand hard on, because we do a lot of our stuff virtually now. We have just BantuckyCon that is really our only in-person fundraising event that we have that encompasses all of Guilds of Requiem. Our annual celebration in December, that's online. Would I like to see it happening in person again and be all fancy and everything else, and a chance to show off our designer duds? Of course. But does it have to happen? No. It can be done. The last thing is that 75% of our membership for Space Station Requiem with Starfleet Command are lifetime memberships. I think we have maybe 2 people, 3 people tops, 3 families tops that renew annually. Because the command staff requirements in the chapter charter is that we have to be members of Guilds of Requiem and Starfleet Command. Space Station Requiem will never go away with Starfleet Command. That's it, period. It's going to be there for forever and ever. Command staff will always ensure that the SPAR reporting occurs every month. We have modified the promotion schedule within Starfleet Command that once a person has reached petty officer, we first class, Starfleet says petty officer, we only promote 1 time a year, and that's going to be at our annual celebration. It's just, people have too much to do in their lives to pretty much babysit. When is somebody ready for promotion? So reiterating again, the current commanding officers team will remain in command with regards to Starfleet Command for the foreseeable future. Whippings will continue until morale improves, not to be confused with morals. We still encourage membership in that organization, but we'll no longer be offering lifetime memberships as a participation award in our online community. And we will be discussing the annual memberships and all of that. Mikey's quick little blurb is that she's continuing to work on knowledge of nonprofits. She started an online course about grant researches, grant proposals. She's reaching out to several teachers she knows for BantuckyCon, and she's working with other things. Departmental reports. We have none. We've been doing everything else. We have not done anything with Space Station Requiem departmental wise, with the exception of BantuckyCon. So we are going to open up to someone seeking to join the command staff as a senior officer with Space Station Requiem unit in Starfleet Command to help spearhead this project with eyes on the center seat in 2024. Come talk to me, man. Come talk to me. I will work with you to make sure that you have an active and you maintain a current membership with Starfleet Command. I will work with you on making sure you pass the needed exams. The exam that you needed to take is going to be communications or operations. And as I pointed out again, 75% of this project has lifetime membership. We're mostly online. Restrictions going to remain in place that you have to have 2 years of experience with Guilds of Requiem. So now is the time to keep your eye on that prize. We're getting there. We're getting there. Steampunk unit. We had a massive security breach of fraudulent emails, spammers, spam bots trying to go join the Guilds of Requiem membership page, the Space Station Requiem. Most importantly, what triggered me off is the Steampunk unit. That was the first one that I set to where I have to approve a membership. The reason that is that we have protections in place that anybody who joins the Steampunk unit understands that there is going to be a background check on them. If you are on the sex offenders registry list and you apply, you need to tell me right away why you're on there. Otherwise, it's going to be an automatic decline. You've got crimes against a person in your background check. Guess what? It's going to be an automatic decline, especially if you're seeking to run a portion of that project. No, safety of our membership is way too important. So what ticked me off is that I had a little email that I would send to them that linked to our Google form, and it was bouncing back. So the process going forward on all 3 websites, they can request to join our website. They're going to get in a responder email. It's going to generate an automatic email from Wix saying, please complete this form, and somebody will get back to you within 3 to 5 days. If that email bounces, we block and decline and block them. That's all it's to it. BantuckyCon activities. Pre-event, we are in need of volunteers to assist with social media advertising. I will gladly create the content. I will gladly post it in our event group. If somebody can just make it a point to go into Meta and post it out there, and then to see that it's getting shared onto all of our other pages, that is going to be a huge help for me as we continue to discover how much time my medical stuff is going to take care of. We do need volunteers to coordinate each of the different activity categories, and we need volunteers to be runners. Okay, we're just to the part where everybody was waiting for. Sweating, man. Location was found. We will once again be back at the Palmarosa RV Park in Bandera. That is on Highway 16 near Panther Ridge, not Panther Ridge, Holly Peak. Polly Peak Drive. Got my P's confused. Our theme this year is Cowboys and Aliens. We are going to make life simple. We are going to vote on 7 different themes, and we're just going to recycle through them. So 7, 8 years from now, then Cowboys and Aliens will be it again. It does have its own email address. All websites should redirect to this Requiem Wix, that. If you come across any of our pages or groups or websites or events that is directing people to anywhere else than the Requiem's event page, I need that URL so that I can go in, or I can send somebody else to go find them. And otherwise, somebody's going to reach out to you and say, okay, where exactly did you find this? And you're like, well, I just found it. Okay, we need to know where. We can't fix a problem if we don't know where exactly to fix that problem. We are massive. We have our main website. We have our guild's websites. We have our project websites. All of them have social media accounts. We are massive. This has been 6 years in the building. We are massive. Coming down to the last page. October 22nd, 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. is our vending hours. We have been invited for a Requiem After Dark at the Bandera Brewery Brew Fest, happening the evening of Saturday, October 22nd. They're not making any guarantees that it is family friendly. Everything that happens between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. will be family friendly. No way around it. That is a hard and fast rule. Even when it comes down to me seeing somebody walk in through that gate, if they are using body parts to hold parts of their cosplay costume, they will not be allowed in. If they are not actively feeding a baby, the nipples need to be covered. Other than that, everything else is fair game. I keep my cosplay rules simple. Keep it family friendly. I know I went through this really fast, but are there any questions that anybody has to ask of us? Okay, I see a yes on Des. Des, did you have a question?
No, I don't. I don't know what happened there.
Okay, well, do you have a question or not? Well, that's because she's using an account where she does her Zooms. No, we're all under probation, man. Hey, did y'all see that post about the whole reason that one character is there because in a D&D game is because they're the probation officer to another character and they have to go everywhere that person goes?
Yeah, I hate when that
think
happens.
I saw that one.
Is this where I also tell people that I usually play a bard tiefling?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people are like, why don't you do a paladin or a cleric? And I'm like, no, I do that. I get paid to do that. This game,
Yeah,
wouldn't be any fun.
that's too close to our former jobs. That
Yeah.
I think Thurgoth was a paladin, and that was she depends on where I was playing. If it was a game or if it was on World of Warcraft. In the game, I was a she. On World of Warcraft, at first you could only do male orcs. And then all of a sudden they decided you could do female orcs. So like several different realms. I had several different characters. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording here.